boom camera means get pretty quick. All right. Well, welcome to the stream. All right. Well, welcome to the stream. All right. We got audio going. Welcome if you're, that's what you get if you start right on time. You get a little tech stuff. Hey, we're so excited that you're joining in. We'll give a couple minutes to let people kind of come right in, but feel free to let us know you're here and drop a note in the chat. I'll introduce myself. If you don't know me, I am Sean Pritzkow, and I'm super stoked to co-host the stream today with Michael Gray, one and only.
I appreciate it, Son. Thanks for everybody coming out, and we're still getting some people coming in. But this is our second stream. We're happy to be back with you guys. Sponsored by Stripe. We got a lot to talk about today. So the whole point of this is a community of web designers. So we're just going to talk about ways that we can empower you, get you to grow, and go from that level 1 to level 2 to level 3. And I know Sean's the expert on those things. So I'm excited to be here with you guys.
Yeah, we're super stoked to do this. I was thinking about it this week, like, how did this thing get started? We were been kind of like chatting for maybe like a year or so about starting something together. And then this opportunity kind of came up to host this together, and I'm super stoked. This is super fun. We've known each other for a long time.
I think you said 20 years.
No. Let's not say numbers. But super stoked. Let us know if you're here. If you're just kind of coming in, make sure to drop your name in the chat. Make sure to maybe tell us where you're coming from. We'd love to know if this is this is our second stream. So if you've been 2 out of 2, we would love to know. So drop your name in the chat. We got some
greetings in here right now.
Oh, good. Who we got in?
Jackie, hello.
Jackie.
Rafaela. We got Ethan and Rainmaker. Hello to you too.
Let's go.
We got a couple people coming through right now. I'm kind of on double duty, making sure we see who's coming in, see your comments, but also contribute to the conversation. So feel free to pop something in the chat if you have questions or ideas, or just want to share a little bit about something. We got somebody from the DMV area, DC down there in VA. Good to see you as well.
Nice. Well, we'll start moving along because we got a ton that we want to cover today. A big part of this is essentially kind of like workshopping some topics together today, but the goal of this is to be a community. Like, we want to get to know you. We want you to get to know each other. So it might be 2 of us in a room today, but we think of this as kind of like a global community. We have had people last stream from all around the world. So this is super exciting. Let's jump in and begin talking about what we're going to cover today. Let's just start by what is this? This is a live stream. It's for designers by designers. And the goal is to help learn from one another and upskill together. So you may be someone who is a veteran designer and have been building websites forever. You may have just graduated a program or a boot camp, or you're just like solo founder. You might have a restaurant. You might have something, and you're just building your own website. And we're hoping that this is everyone's welcome here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really quick, while we introduce ourselves, while people are coming in, my name is Sean, and I'm a marketing strategist and designer. I've been doing a lot of this work for a while, and my days is really spent helping people achieve business goals, and that can be through marketing strategy, that can be through email, that can be through web, a ton of things.
I'm Michael Gray. I am a UX designer turned full stack engineer. So the things that I develop are based in the human experience, how to make everything better from that perspective. So I like to say I take the ideas, feelings, and turn them into facts, and then take the facts and bring that to life. So that's essentially what I do.
I love it. And if you chat to Michael, he has all these other layers to him, which I'm sure you'll start to learn. The purpose of why we're gathering, why we're doing this, and this isn't a one-off stream. This is going to be a reoccurring content series. And so the purpose of today's workshop is to equip web designers with tools to build, launch, and earn. and we'll talk about what that means. And we're doing this live and in community. So we're not pre-recording this. So you're going to see that this isn't being pre-recorded. So you get to catch all our humanity and all the everything. So this is live, and I think a big part of that is because, especially as designers, like I can only imagine how many hours I've sat alone in a room in front of a computer. Likewise.
And we've talked about that, where we're very last year we're kind of siloed, and we find ourselves either stuck with a problem, and Sean and I are fortunate enough to have each other to bounce ideas off of. But imagine how many people are, I've just become a UX designer, I'm a web designer, and I have a new client now, I don't know what to do, I don't know where to turn. So having this community creates that opportunity for one another to, you know, build each other up.
And like Google and Stack Overflow and ChatGPT like are great resources, but they're like not real people. You know? And so we're hoping that this like face-to-face, like almost like forcing it to be live and a little old school in that way, like it engages each other in community and get to know one another.
And to that point, share your questions, share your comments. This is a community. So whether it's, you know, you may have a question for us, or you may have some insight that another designer may have not thought of. So definitely keep that community idea in the back of your mind as we go through the stream.
Awesome. Well, speaking of, let's go ahead and look at the schedule for today. So this is all, like I said, about build, launch, and earn. And so the kind of the idea behind this session today is we want to help upskill and level each other on the business of freelancing. So build, launch, and earn. So we're going to start with build, and we're going to cover foundations, how to start,
what to start, when to start, all the good things, the questions you have when you finally become a UX designer, you're a web designer with some experience under your belt. So I'll be happy to talk about that.
So foundations, we'll get it kicked off. Then we're going to go to launch, and I'm going to cover some things here about like the idea of running a web design studio, all the things that are required, and you really can't get away from these things. It's finding clients. It is marketing yourself. Once you have potential people that want to work with you, sales.
And Sean has a breadth of experience from his start to finish. He has a remarkable story. So to see someone actually have that lived experience and learn, take away from what they've learned and learn the steps and things that he's taken into account as you built your firm, there's a high value there. Because I think, and I've personally shared this with Sean last week, like I had some questions for him of how does he do this? How does he do this? Because he is the marketing and content guru, but then web designer as well. So he has a lot of versatility, not only from the marketing side, but from the business side as well. So that's going to be a true gift this afternoon.
I appreciate it. And a lot of it is doing this over time, you get opinions and you become slightly opinionated, right? And see what has worked, what hasn't. And this has all been just kind of figuring out along the way. And then running projects, just how to do the work. And of course, we won't be able to cover these. Like we could spend like a session on each one of these, honestly. But we essentially want to say like, these are the things up front, if you know it's going to help you along the way. And then earn. So once you got your business up and running, how do you continue to grow? And how do you manage everything along the way? So I can cover billing and things like finances. We'll talk about sustainable ways to run your business. So reoccurring revenue. We love reoccurring revenue.
Yes.
Right? And so once we cover all these things, then we're going to go into Q&A. So make sure that if you have a question, you don't have to wait till the end. Feel free to just throw it in the chat. That does two things. It helps us cover some things at the end of the stream. We'll make time for Q&A. I'll make sure Michael makes sure to stop talking so we can hit your questions. But it also helps us plan other streams. We want this to be helpful. We don't just want to get up in here and chat about things we're interested in. We want to cover things that is going to be a value and a benefit to the whole community. And then lastly, we have a giveaway that we'll talk a little bit about.
So we appreciate you spending your afternoon with us. So one of the neat features is that participation, we're going to send out a survey and fill out that survey. You're going to be entered in for a drawing to win a free book of your choice from our friends at Stripe through Stripe Press. This is one of the books that Sean got his hands on, but we're excited to offer this to you guys because we really appreciate you taking the time. So at the end, you'll get that survey, you'll fill that out, you'll be put in the drawing, and then we'll let the winners know, and then you'll have your selection of a book of your choice from our friends at Stripe.
Yeah, and like look at these things. Like they're beautiful books. Most people don't know that Stripe Press exists.
Yes.
And this is published by Stripe. So beautiful text. Like it's as beautiful as you would expect from Stripe, because everything they do is just so pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And there's a whole list of books to choose from. We'll drop a link in the chat.
Yep.
Because you can go in and pick a book and go right on the site and just grab your title. And if you win the giveaway,
right. And even if you don't, if you don't win the giveaway, there is that opportunity to take a look at Stripe Press and see the amazing offerings that they have in those various books, from design, business, growth, excelling, all the things. So definitely we can put that in the chat as well.
All right. Well, I mean, who else we got in the chat? Anyone saying anything?
We have Oscar. Jackie, I think I know Jackie, welcome. And then Brianna, we had from DMV. So we got a couple
cool
new people.
Yeah, if you're brand new and you haven't said anything, drop your name in the chat, and like we'd love to know where you're joining from. And of course, if you have any questions along the way, how you heard about the stream is great. All these things is helpful because we want to get to know you. And I wish I could just be reading. I wish I could be hanging in the chat and talking at the same time. But let's jump into things today. So the title is Build, Launch, and Earn. So before we jump into the content, let's talk about a few things. I don't know, Michael, about you, but I'm online a lot, and I'll see questions in like communities like Reddit and Discord and things like that. Yeah, and honestly, just people I know will ask questions about freelancing, right? Yeah. And there's, in my mind, there's two kinds of questions that I see. One question will be like, how do I get clients?
Right.
How do I send invoices? How do I manage projects? All these things. These are like really understandable operational questions.
Absolutely.
How to run your business. Then I see questions about like, how do I design a website, or how do I make the form do this?
Right. Functionality for the client or themselves.
Yeah, I guess more so like what I'm trying to get at is there's a lot of people asking questions about how to do designs so that they can run a business.
Right.
And so to make it clear for this stream, we're not really going to be talking about skills. Like we're not going to be talking about how to make a div, or we're not going to talk about like
platform to
color palette and like this isn't a conversation about design skills, right? And there's in the stream there's going to be various levels of skill set, all the way from novice to expert. And there's room for everybody. But the big thing is we're not going to be talking about necessarily how to level up on design skill.
Right.
This stream is about how to level up in the business of design,
right?
And how the business of running a design studio, whether you're independent, whether you are running a small team or studio. Some of these things might be helpful if you're running a team, and just being a good teammate.
Right.
But it's a good thing to know up front. Like we're not teaching design in this.
Yes.
And we might cover design topics on these streams, but today we're talking about the business of design.
And how to run that business. When's the perfect time to start that business? How do you create operational efficiency to maintain that business and turn those one-time clients into reoccurring revenue, as you said in the post. So that's what we're hitting on today. So I'm going to get started.
Let's go.
All right. So from that perspective, when you're ready to start a business, there are essentially two criteria that work hand in hand together as it relates to starting your business. The two criteria, this is from and I want to say this as a caveat. We've been doing this for a while. We figured out what works for us. You have to figure out what works best for you, but these are our recommendations and our thoughts and our time working on our various projects. So the first is you've completed 3 to 4 paid projects. And the second is you've identified a product or service. Now, I've been consulting in businesses and starting my own businesses from Delaware to New York to Texas and Georgia. And one of the things that I constantly see is individuals prematurely starting a business.
Mm,
And they either they have to pivot because they didn't identify their
mhm,
product market fit or their service market fit in our case. And then now they're changing things about the business. Do you have to change your socials? What does your domain name look like? So having those two criteria
mm,
sets the foundation.
mm,
Now, what do you get out of that? So you're on your third paid client, right? What do you get? Well, you learn from like you said earlier, you learn how your business functions.
mm,
You can do the trial and error with, hey, here's my cousin, here's my friend. I built a website for them or a small business that I know. Secondly, if it's your third paid customer, when you release or make that transition into building your own brand as a business,
mm,
you now have 3 to 4 testimonials that are paid. So
mhm,
it's not that blank. We all come to that point where we want to show something that we've done on our portfolio or on our website, and we want those statistics.
mm,
You already have 3 to 4 of them because now
mm,
you've transitioned away from your personal brand to the actual business and the brand. So you win a lot. You have a lot of wins as you go through and you work on those 3 to 4 paid
mm,
experiences. Now, typically, there are 2 ways. We talked about this. There are 2 ways that people establish their entity. But I want to talk about what that actually means. And I worked with Webster's Dictionary, Chat, and a couple other my Chat GBT, and a couple of my other friends. But it's entity establishment is essentially separating your personal ventures or endeavors and then your business and
mm,
operating that business as its own entity. And this is an empowering thing because you can actually build your brand around it. You can do things from a business perspective, like open a business bank account. From a client perspective, if you have your brand and you have a logo and you have all the things, it just
mm,
looks more trusting
mhm,
in certain cases. So
mhm,
it's not Michael at gmail.com. It's Michael at michaeldesign.com.
mhm,
It just builds that brand a little more. So that's the entity establishment. And we
mm,
have 2 ways that we typically do this. The first is the most cost effective, easiest way to get started.
mm,
DBA or doing business as. So this allows you to, it's really for
mhm,
your brand. So you go to typically you go to your municipality or your county and you fill out the paperwork and you say, I want my brand to be Michael Design. Boom, Michael Design is there.
mhm,
Michael Gray and Michael Design are now 2 separate things. So now when I put my invoices together, when I actually have, my website, it'll say Michael Design, not just my personal name. I can truly build a brand around that. And it's the fastest way to entry as it relates to starting a design business
mhm,
because it's low cost. You can still establish a business checking account, banking account for
mm,
operational purposes, but you have the versatility to say, hey, I
mhm,
have my own brand now. So from that perspective, it's one of the biggest wins because you've now graduated from those 3 to 4 paid personal clients to now I have a brand, I have my service offerings, and now I got a bank account. So now it's serious. It's on
mhm.
paper and someone else
That's right.
knows. And then the second way is what I call incorporation.
Mm,
That's the heavy lifting. And I want to jump back to the DBA. Who
mm,
is that good for? That's good for individuals who are just starting out, who did those 3 to 4 clients that are paid. Typically, my recommendation is you have less than $20,000 that you're bringing into your business because it's operational, it's personally you can. There's a lot of versatility with the DBA.
mm,
Now, when you go the incorporation route, I'm sure everyone, if not, you've probably heard of an LLC, limited liability company, or an S corp. That is the heavy lifting. Typically, it costs a lot more money
mm,
from that perspective, but there are also corporate state regulations, IRS regulations that come with that. My biggest thing that I would say is you are completely fine to start off with a DBA and graduate to an LLC. Your first year, you do 5,000. Second year, you do 10,000. All right, year 3, you're making 25K. If you're still a DBA, it's okay to transition to that LLC, the limited liability company. But
mm,
that's something definitely what I would say for individuals who make a little bit more, so maybe $25,000 a year in
mm,
annual recurring revenue. They may have a partner or considering getting a full-time partner to expand the operations of the business. Now you have partners. So we talk about how the equity of the company is split and things like that. So the LLC is great, I think, for a long-term opportunity. Now, as I said earlier, these are just our recommendations. I've
mhm,
started DBAs in 3 different counties. I've started LLCs and whatnot in 4 different states. Whatever works best for you, you have to really take that step and determine How do you want your business to grow? How do you want it to operate? Who are you working with does make a difference as well. If you are looking at those larger clients, maybe regionally recognized or nationally recognized, I might think going about the LLC route, just
Mhm.
because there's an entity that's there that's not so closely associated with you, unlike the DBA.
That's right.
So in short, it's pretty much wherever you want to go, but you can start small, get your portfolio, get your money up, get your experience up, fine tune that operation, and then graduate to the LLC.
Right, and that's good. There's a lot here that you can get stuck on,
Yeah,
right? If you're
yeah,
just, like, waiting to, like, figure out it's okay to think about this, right? And
right,
it's
right,
important,
right.
but we don't wanna get stuck in
Yes,
that,
yes,
right? And there's no shame in asking for help. There's a
right,
lot of good resources online,
right.
and there's, like you said, locally, your where you're situated,
Yeah.
there's a lot of great resources
There's
around.
great resources. There's chambers of commerce, like even online, the UX community. I know I'm a
Mhm,
part of several on LinkedIn. There are several freelancers on in the various LinkedIn groups who are more than willing to say, "Hey, if you're
mhm,
really interested in doing this, feel free to reach out and let me know. Let me know how I can help."
mhm,
So, and then I think my last piece is pretty much what's next.
mhm,
That's pretty much you doing your research and saying, "Hey, this would be a good
mhm,
fit for me." The DBA, or hey, I do need to go from, I actually am making, a little bit more, and I do need an operation, and I'm going after these bigger clients. I may need to establish an entity. And there are various ways that you can do
mhm,
that. One of the things that Stripe does have is Stripe Atlas. And Stripe Atlas is a great resource to get you started as it relates to the
mhm,
LLC and the corporation. It'll walk you through step by step, ask you a couple questions, walk you through, and pretty much make the best recommendation.
mhm,
There isn't a one size fits all.
mhm,
Each business is going to run differently. If your service offering is movie theaters and someone else's is restaurants, it may be a little bit different in your structure, but it does get you in the right direction. And to Sean's point, it gets you started.
mhm,
And that's the takeaway today is, if you want to make
mhm,
that decision, where can you get started? So check out, the LinkedIn groups, check out your state Secretary of State, your local Chamber of Commerce, and there are resources. Reach out to us on Build Launch Earn,
mhm.
and I can at least point you in the right direction and get you started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, of course.
Um, yeah, there's so much about getting started, and I think there's a lot there that overwhelms
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
And there's a lot that we'll talk about today that is not really sequential.
Right.
A lot when I get questions around this, and I am admittedly like not an expert on everything you just shared. I've had to go through it and
Yeah.
ask the right people and find the right resources. But often when I get questions around these kind of things, I I like to say, like, don't let it stop you from moving forward, because if you can, for example, you haven't like found your first client yet, right? Um, then like government, I don't think the government cares too much until you start making money, and then they're
Right.
like, hey, let's talk about that money that you're starting to earn,
Right. Right.
right?
Right.
So
Right.
it's really important that we put the right things first, and getting clarity around your work and your business and the value that you offer to people,
Right.
and uh, then make sure that you're backed legally and you have
Right.
the right protections in place, and
Right.
there's positioning in place of you being legally set up in the right
Yeah.
way to
Yeah.
do business
To that
online.
point, I would say don't rush the process either.
Mm,
Take time. You don't want to do anything prematurely.
mhm.
So, finding your niche is better than starting a company not knowing that niche or that service offering
Yeah,
that you have. So, to your point, it's not
yeah,
sequential sometimes.
yeah,
Just go in the order
yeah.
that fits you.
Well, then, so a question for you
Yeah.
before we move on, like, I'm just starting a design business, right?
Yeah.
I'm just about to get started.
Yeah.
Uh, what do I call it? Like, do I name it? Do I
Yeah.
go under like my personal brand?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what's the right move?
It depends on where you want to go. I personally, Sean will tell you, last year it was Michael Gray Design, and then I
Mm,
just went to, I personally evolved because I teach the live stream and just different opportunities to startup. I just named it Michael Gray.
mm,
So from that perspective, it depends on where you want to go. Some people, and we see this a lot with social media influencers. Some people
mm,
will just take their name and make it an LLC.
mhm,
So it depends on where you want to go. One of the greatest tools that I use, to be quite frank, is ChatGPT.
mm.
I told ChatGPT it was like a marketing expert with 55 years of experience, and that I wanted to focus on this market. And I really drilled down on on it, but it's pretty much what what service you're offering. Because if you want to say, and that was my decision, I was a UX designer, but now I'm a full stack engineer.
Yeah.
So what does that look like? Do I want to focus on UX, or do I want to focus on full stack, or do I want to do both? I decided I want to do both, so I
Right.
just use my name. But if you want to say, previously, like I said, it was Michael Gray Design,
Yep.
then I changed that. So once you identify that service offering, it helps with the name. Then once you have the name, the rest is pretty much history, because you identified your service offering, you have the testimonials from those four paid personal projects, and you go from there.
That's good. And another thing I like say is like, just be honest.
Right.
Some people they're a freelance designer and they work solo, and they're like business name enterprises, like, and clients like kind of like I think the thought is that if I come up with like a name that feels really impressive, like we have a team of 200, but then they start working with you and you're a team of one, there's a little disconnect there. So I like to encourage people, just be honest. There's nothing wrong with just being, I've worked 10 years under Sean Pritzkow, right? And people know that when they work with me, they get to work with me, and I'm not farming work off everywhere. But if I had a team of 20 people, like Sean Pritzkow probably wouldn't start to feel right. And you, so it's,
can I ask you a question? When you do have a big name like that from a design perspective, do you think that clients find that intimidating? Like, say you have a smaller client who's like, oh, I just need something big, but you have this Michael Gray Enterprises, and then it's like, oh, well, it's intimidating, but behind the scenes, to your point, it's just me.
Yeah, I think that's actually going to be, I think, a good segue into the next part. Because like, you want to work with right fit clients, and I think right fit clients want to work with the right fit designers and vendors and agencies, right? And so, you know, if you're a large team and you're a small business and you're, you know, a large global agency, that's probably not a good fit, right? And so with your branding and with your positioning and the way that you present yourself online and in person and in communication, everyone's trying to find, just like you said, like a product fit, like market fit. Like we want to find like a relational fit between different entities, businesses, and so I think it's big part of it. And so let's perfect segue. Let's jump into launch. So everything we just talked about, build, that is about like foundational things and formation, and getting started, and you'll constantly kind of like touch those things along the way as you grow and feel some of the growing pains of maybe outgrowing your DBA, and you'll revisit those things. Well, here we're going to talk about launch, and this is how do we kind of take it from there. And so we will. We have a bunch kind of that I have talking here, and these are like things that, like I said, I jumped off, you know, the deep end of starting a business, right? Like I didn't have, I knew I wanted to build something beyond like being a W-2 employee, and life was starting to like move around, shake up, and this felt like the right move. But it wasn't something that I don't recommend people do it the way I did, right? Like I didn't have like the 4 months savings or something like going in, or whatever the recommendations are. I just kind of did it, and I learned along the way. And so a lot of this is saying, here are the things I wish I I knew, you know, like as I was going, because I definitely learned along the way. So number one, let's get started here, is if you're looking to get your first client, or you've had 10 clients and you're looking to kind of build out your business development and your pipeline, one of the first things I'd say is make it easy to hire you. And why do we want to make it easy to hire you? Well, the thing is, if you don't know the next step in proceeding to work with you, or you don't know the services that you offer, or you don't know the process to like sell and onboard a client, then your client is going to be like so confused. And so this is kind of just like a general principle of make it easy to hire you. Like do the work up front so that you understand the clients that you want to reach and work with. Ideally, I like to encourage people to make a list, like write down the clients. Like if you were to meet them and sell them and begin to work with them, you know, a month from now, like what are those clients? And I encourage people to be realistic, but also aim big and put your blue chip clients on there of who you'd love to work with someday. Because if you don't think of those things, you're just kind of going to be a little aimless with your sales and marketing. So make a list. Know the services that you offer, and like it could be service. You don't
Yeah.
need services. You might
Yeah.
have one service that
Right.
you offer people, or you
Right.
might have an array of services. But then know what is the process to working with you,
Mm.
and that can be something that you can throw in an email and say, you're connecting with someone you met at an event or something,
Yeah.
and you don't at this point maybe even need a fancy website.
Mm.
A year into my business, I did not have a website, and I build
Oh, wow.
websites.
Okay. Wow. Wow.
But it's me building a website would have gotten in the way of me getting clients. I didn't need a website. I needed clients.
Right.
And
Right.
I got clients without having the website. And it's
Right.
because we'll talk about all this, but
Yeah.
you can drop these things in email. Here's step 1, step 2, step 3 on how to engage and see if working together would be a good fit. But eventually you'll want those things on your website, and
Right.
you'll want those things elsewhere. So number 1, just make it easy to hire you. If anything I've learned over 10 years, like people want to work with people that's easy to work with.
Right.
If you're perceived as someone who's difficult to work with,
Right.
and
Right.
everything is a challenge, and
It's
and they don't
uphill
respond,
battle.
and
Yeah.
there's oh my gosh, I literally have a slide in my proposal templates that are like, why work with me? There are thousands of people to work with.
Yeah. Yeah.
You could Google an unlimited list of people.
Right. Right.
So why work with me? Well, one of the things, maybe it's not
It's
hard.
easy.
It's
Yeah,
easy to
yeah,
work
it's
with me,
easy,
right?
easy. So to that extent, would it be safe to say that understanding your process not only helps you but helps your client as it relates to onboarding them in your
100%. Yeah.
process? Yeah.
Yeah, it helps everybody.
Okay.
Having clarity up front. If people get confused, they start to withdraw.
Okay.
And you said it earlier, like we want to build credibility and trust with people.
Right.
And having a clear process helps breed trust.
Yeah.
And trust is what we're looking for here.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You want to build long-term relationships and engagements here. So thinking of like getting your first client, like make it easy to work with you.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of my first clients were people I knew.
Mm-hmm.
I think I made a list of 10 people who were like in my target niche, I guess. I wasn't
Okay.
thinking about niching yet, but I was thinking of like, what are the things I know how to do? And I've done it
Right.
before for like an employer before in a similar space.
Right.
Well, who are other people I know in like my Rolodex? I have their email address or their
Right.
phone number
Right.
that I can reach out to. And I reached out to 10 or 15 of those people
Mm-hmm.
and seeing if they needed help with the thing that I do.
Right.
And then I made it easy to hire me. Well, if you're interested, let's book a call.
Right.
Let's identify the problem,
Mm-hmm.
and let's find the solution that I offer
Right.
to you, and we
Right.
talk to details and begin working. Right. I couldn't overstate the importance of making it easy to hire you.
Did you ever experience any type of for everyone here? I've experienced myself any imposter syndrome. You started out
Right now, right? I'm on.
Yeah.
We're doing this in front of a bunch of people.
Right.
Like,
Right.
I think it never really goes away.
Okay.
I think we're always kind of, if you don't feel it, you're probably not doing the right thing too.
Okay.
Like I've learned, and there's this book, I'm blanking on the title right now. It talks about the topic of resistance.
Okay.
If you don't feel that resistance, you don't feel like you're kind of in the wrong room at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Like you might not be in the right. I think it's actually a positive sign to
that
feel.
you have imposter
Yeah,
syndrome.
because you're stepping into the thing that ultimately you want,
Right.
you should be doing and want to be doing, but it's not every day yet,
Right.
and so you kind of feel uncomfortable. I've learned to embrace it a bit.
Okay. Lean in on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next, so the initial questions and things that we're talking about is all around how to find clients. One of these things I like to say is just show up where your clients are.
Right.
I had a conversation, this is probably 6 months ago or a year ago.
Okay.
Someone asked if what kind of what did I do for marketing? How do I get clients?
Mhm.
I started talking to them about the things that I do to get clients.
Mhm.
And so I was saying, well, I have a podcast, and I talk on the podcast.
Right.
Some people reach out through that. Or I'm involved with this organization locally. I'm on the board, and we host events and things like that.
Yeah.
Or I said I have an email list, whatever. They're like, oh, you don't do any marketing. And I'm like, it was just, it struck me as so funny, because I'm like, that is the marketing.
Right.
That is the marketing. The things that, might not scale, the things that are getting you in front of real people, like I think is the marketing.
Yeah.
And so showing up where they are, I think we need to like the goal would be, hey, you put something online and then just like people just flock and
Right.
start filling out your contact form, and
Yep. Your
you know, you
emails
need
just
to
keep dinging off. You get the
exactly.
notifications.
And
Yeah.
people, and there's this, I think, thought that you just post the right thing on the right channel, and all of a sudden you're just gonna get flooded with inquiries.
Yeah.
Which if that was true, like I would just be
Right.
LinkedIn all day or something. But some of my largest clients have come through Facebook groups.
Mm.
One of my largest clients was through a Reddit comment.
Yep.
I accidentally dropped a calendar. Well, I dropped a calendar link to like one person,
Yeah.
and then someone else booked.
Oh, awesome.
That's one of my largest clients to date.
Right.
And that wasn't, that was like non-traditional, and,
Right.
and it's hard to build a strategy and a system around that
Right.
in some ways. But reality was I showed up where people were, and they were
Right.
in Reddit asking questions about a problem, or
Right.
or in a Facebook group. I like to go to events,
Right.
and those are where people are looking to connect and meet people. So definitely, if you're looking to get your first few clients, like if you think of the internet is
Yeah.
a ocean, right? Now I'm borrowing some of this metaphor. There's a gentleman I follow named Jonathan Stark who's really, really helpful to listen to around pricing. But like the internet is like a giant lake. It's the ocean. And so the internet's really, really helpful. But when you go to a 30-50 person event, like you're fishing in a pond.
Right.
And those are people that are likely in around the same topic. So definitely show up where you are. We mentioned this sort of already, but the goal is to get people to know, like, and trust you. So this first part we're talking about is how do we get people to know you?
Right.
They need to know you first before they can like you or trust you.
Right.
And the reason I kind of point people to in-person things first is it's a lot quicker to know if I like you when I have some experience with you. So we want people to know you, and then you get to share a little bit of your experience, get your personality before we even start talking about like the things you do. Like people are like, oh, do I like this person?
Right. Do we engage?
Do they seem trustworthy? And some of this happens quickly, and some of it happens over time, right? So we want people to know, like, and trust you. So we're jumping through a little bit. I know we can be chatting along this for a while, and I know we're hoping to go just today until around 2:15 around there. So keeping it moving. But how to get clients, like get in front of people, make it really easy to work with you, do the work up front so that how to work with people, and then be able to position yourself as an expert is where to begin. And the thing is, it's not just where to begin, it's kind of the whole game is like building relationships and helping people know, like, and trust you. So next, like when you're ready to start working with someone, well, what do you do? Here's one thing that I've learned this from people. I've implemented it. It's one of the things that changed things for me, because if you freelance for any amount of time, you'll know this feeling. You meet with someone, you talk to them, you're interested in working together, you start talking details, and then you're going to say something, usually off the cuff. You're like, all right, I'll put together a proposal for you and I'll send it to you.
Right.
So you put together the proposal and then you send it to them, and then you don't hear anything.
Right. The waiting game.
And it can be 24 hours. It can be 5 days. It can go to 14, over time. You're like, that feeling in your gut is like, oh my God, like, did I charge too much? Did I come off to something? And that can be so stressful. And not only can it be stressful, I just don't think it's effective. So one of these things I say is don't send proposals, present proposals.
Okay.
So I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I like to just like lay the law as don't send proposals. Present proposals. And I presented a proposal this morning. And I say on the call, I don't send proposals, I present proposals, because there's so much detail in here. There's nuance. And honestly, in human nature, people scroll to the bottom, look at the number, and then they go back to the front. And so this helps you kind of like own the process and helps you, go over and guide someone through a journey of thinking through, well, what is the problem we're talking about here? And like, why do something like this big, expensive thing? And then you start talking through the reasons for those things, and people begin to make
Right.
agree with you, and then you start talking about the services and why you chose this.
Right.
The price isn't where you want to start, right?
Right.
Because someone's going to get sticker shock, or they're just going to say like, why that much? And
Yeah.
don't send proposals, present proposals. That's one of the things that once I started doing, I just noticed the amount of proposals that
Right.
I won just drastically increased.
Right. And it's like a level of value validation.
Mhm.
You're going to look at that number, like you said, they're going to look at that number, but at the same time, to take the time to walk them through line by line or
Yeah.
topic by
Yeah.
topic and actually say, this is the value you're
Yes.
getting. So it's more of an empowering thing than the dollars and cents. And going back to your previous point, building that rapport.
Mhm.
Sean, I met him here. He knew his stuff. He was sharp. But not only did he give us a dollar amount, but he showed the value that comes with each experience and how
Mhm.
he's pretty much holding our hand, because I think a lot of clients may not know what they're getting into or what the sent proposal is. It's just a bunch of words, and we're gonna market, we're gonna do this, it doesn't make sense to them.
Yeah.
So for you to walk through that process, it is a value validation.
Yeah, and if there are multiple kind of freelancers or studios competing for a project, and there's 10 people they're working with, and 2 people schedule meetings with them, and the rest just get PDFs.
Yeah.
You do stand out, so it's a little bit of a cheat code there.
Right.
Next is keep a success folder. So this is kind of in reaction to portfolio websites.
Yeah.
And I think a website's important. Like I said, my first year plus, I didn't have a website. So I didn't really have like a portfolio. Like I'd send people like work that I've done.
Yep.
But I had a little bit, I disagree with a lot of some of the instruction I hear about portfolio websites.
Okay.
I think it's important to show your work. I think it is important. But a lot of people say like, just show your work. And I don't think that that's the best thing. I think you need to show work, but I think there's a lot more that you need to show.
Right.
In a lot of ways, as a designer, like your website is like a portfolio item in itself. Seeing how do you create something towards a target audience, and how do you position yourself, and how do you design it? But a lot of people say just show the work, and you kind of get lost in the work. I like to say like, don't get lost in the work, like get lost in the outcomes. And so when someone lands on your website, I think they want to see that you're clearly talented or gifted at what you do, design, web development, etc.
Right.
But they need to see that they've worked with people like you, and that those people have gotten outcomes. They've had some sort of transformation through working with you.
Right.
That's what I want to see when I look at a portfolio, and that's how I think of it. So this point of keeping a success folder, well, what do you tell people when they're asking for like past projects? How did they go? I like to keep a success folder. This is a folder on my phone or on your desktop. And I like to say, when someone sends you like a note, let's say you finish a project and they send you a text and they say like, just saw your email, or we just wrapped up or something. They're like, hey, just want to say it was so great working with you.
Right.
Or our sales team is like, thanks for rebuilding the website, because we're getting all these inquiries, and now we have people or whatever, right? If people are sending you or texting you or emailing you really kind things, screenshot them. Screenshot it. Because I fundamentally think that that screenshots are better than testimonials.
Yeah.
Testimonials are great. Make sure you ask people for a formal, maybe testimonial.
Right.
But I don't know. There's something about a screenshot that just feels real.
Right.
And I'm not going to go through the work to like doctor up some text message that.
It's just better on a screenshot to that point.
Exactly. It feels real.
It's authentic.
If you've gotten like a proposal from me, I'll usually have a page that has like actual screenshots of things that people have said. And it might feel a little less like designy or like a formal document in some ways, or formal proposal, but it shows that real people had real experiences and they had real kind things to say, and they were unprompted. I didn't say, hey, like,
it wasn't a survey.
Can you text me the
right. And to the like, you remind me of the design lab students that I work with. So all of the design lab students on here, take the screenshots and put it on your portfolio. And to his previous point, your portfolio, I like to say to my students, it's a living document. So it keeping that success folder, because what worked in quarter one may be completely different in quarter three, because you have those success stories. You have those screenshots that are more authentic versus, hey, you own the local fish market. How did I do on my, versus now we get so many orders for fish at our fish market because you redid the website. So it definitely goes to show. I'm glad you said that, because it is a living document, and it shows. I like to say to the students as well, show who you are as a designer. It's easy. Everyone's going to have a case study. Everyone's going to show that. But what drives your inspiration? Where do you go to get your inspiration? Why did you do the project that you do? And I love the final piece to that is the screenshots are like KPIs. They're just real there. They're not undoctored, unaltered. It's just someone said I did a phenomenal job in their website, and now this is the product of it. So not only does it validate your capabilities, but it validates, as we said earlier, working with you and crossing the finish line with that client.
Absolutely. I love it. To keep us moving ahead, I could talk here all day, man. This is fun stuff. So this is kind of leaning into projects, right? So once you start working with a client, you're going to have to navigate the idea of project management. And, we probably all have opinions around what app to use and what system to use and these kind of things. But here's one thing I'll say is build systems. So you have to build a system. I don't think it matters. Asana, Trello, Basecamp, ClickUp, Airtable, your note file, like it doesn't matter. I think, but you need a system. You need a system to start managing projects, right? Because even one project, let alone start having 4 or 5,
and multiple responsibilities.
You need a system. And then what I say here is build systems, but even better, build habits. And so what I mean by that is the system is, of course, we need a system, but the big thing is we need habits. And so, for example, when you meet someone at a networking event or one of those Facebook comments, someone shows interest in, and you start DMing and they're interested in working with you or something, or, for example, I met someone, just a few months ago, and they just, in a one-off comment, like a side comment, they said like, oh, like I'm involved with this organization and they're looking for someone. Like, do you have any recommendations for them? And they say, oh, like I do that.
Right.
So there's little things, right? You need to build a habit of when they happen, write them down, because that little comment could end up being all that, just a little comment. But a little comment that gets written down in your note or you're dropped in your CRM or whatever becomes something you can follow up on and be reminded on. And once you remind yourself, or you get reminded and you follow up, that could turn into you can move that through a pipeline, right? So that's an example of just building a habit of, hey, that comes up, write it down. It's a lead. It's a potential person to work with. And then just along the lines of like project management and things, like even if you have these systems, if you don't check them, they're not really worthwhile, right? So build the habit of, hey, every morning I check my pipeline or I check my system, right?
Quick question to that point, because you mentioned something where you have your Facebook, so you have your website, you have your Facebook, you have your Instagram, you have your
all
Twitter.
The things.
How do you aggregate all of that and put that into your CRM? Like, do you have a system, or is it just a habit?
It's a habit. Okay. It's a habit. There's no fancy way like a Facebook message, like deploy to ClickUp or something. Right. I don't have any fancy ways, and over time you can build like stronger systems around that. But I think in general, like just getting it there. And the big thing is once you start growing outside yourself, building systems that teams will adopt. But in general, I think a lot of this is building personal habits that then you can say build a system, because you're like, oh, every time I do that, I drop it in a Google Sheet or something, and then you can start building fancy stuff around it.
Have you, with your systems in this increase in AI usage, have you incorporated AI? Because I think about people who have 20 different hats that I'm wearing. How can I automate this to make my life easier and make new habits? So have you experienced that at all?
A little bit. It's funny. I've done some of this work with clients, and sometimes I don't do it for myself or vice versa. But I think what's really interesting, like in the AI space with AI agents or like a chat window, that you can connect to a spreadsheet or Asana or whatever, and you can say, just met Michael at coffee shop. add to CRM or something, and then that chat
aggregates and puts
just
it in
pushes it over there, right?
Awesome.
It's
Awesome.
some
Okay.
cool stuff going on. All right. So that's like what we have time for today in terms of like the launch portion, like getting some clients, setting up projects, sales proposals, like these kind of thing. What do you say we start talking about earning?
Yeah,
wrap it up here.
Yeah.
So earn. So I mean, before we jump in, like this earn step this is things start moving, but you're getting clients coming through and they're making payments.
Yep.
And you might have overlapping projects, and you're looking to maybe like ramp up your earning potential or how many clients you can work with, right? We're going to talk here about these steps, what to do. First one is time does not equal value. This is like the biggest soapbox that I can get jump on, because the amount of time that you spend is not equal with the amount of value you provide.
Right.
And I think a lot of people get stuck here because they've traditionally worked in a W-2 job and they get paid X amount of dollars an hour.
Right.
And then once they go off on their own, they say, oh, I can charge my W-2 rate or half my W-2 rate or 2 times my W-2 rate. Like they're thinking in terms of hours.
Right.
And I don't think it's bad to charge hourly. Actually, I think a lot of projects or some projects, it's good to charge hourly because maybe there's you don't know where this thing's going to go.
Right. To prevent the scope creep, or levels to prevent the scope creep. As if I add this to the project, I actually have billable hours that I have to charge you for. So
super valid way to bill. But over time, I think we got to distance ourselves from it.
Absolutely.
And so you have to think through, well, if I'm going to spend this time doing something for a client, like what do they get? Like, do they just get a pretty graphic? Do they get podcast artwork? Do they get a book cover? Or do they like launch a brand new podcast to a new audience, begin developing a community of potential clients, right?
Makes sense.
Or they're launching a book, like like there's a profit potential of that book.
Right.
So we have to start thinking of in terms of value. What can I offer through my design work? And I think we're all feeling it, especially mentioning AI, of a lot of more commoditized tasks are being more commoditized. And so we want to always kind of like be thinking, how do we move upwards towards work that provides more value for our clients? So when to use value pricing, I think it's important to when there is if you have a conversation with a client and you can learn that there's a target outcome that they're looking for. If you start asking questions like, why are you doing this? Why would you spend so much money on this website? Why don't you just AI it? Why don't you chat GPT it? Why don't if you start asking these questions and they give you serious answers of like, I can't chat GPT this. Like, this is our company homepage. Like, we are anticipating high volume or potential clients. There's too much risk, etc. Then you start to say, oh, like I guess you're coming to an expert, and experts command X amount of fees. So if you can start learning the value that, like, why someone is hiring you, then I would start considering value pricing. Value pricing tends to be a portion of the value that you're generating for a client. So if new website gets them $200,000 in their first year or something, and then you're like, oh, I could charge a portion of that, not half of it, but you could charge a portion of that, and then that's how you can communicate to your client, hey, this website, this could generate $200,000 of value this year in the first year alone. Is it fair that we charge $10,000? Is it fair to charge $20,000 to get $200,000 of value? And business leaders are thinking like that. They're not thinking, how many hours is this going to take you? They're going to say, like, is this going to be worth our time?
Is the cost benefit, is the investment, if we invest $10,000 and it brings in the $200,000, that's $190,000.
That's right.
It's worth it. So to hear that, and I think that's back to the value validation. But I think that's strong point, because I think a lot of new people, and I see it in teaching,
Mm.
if they go the freelance route, it's strictly hourly,
Mhm.
and they're only considering from that W-2 experience from being employee.
Mhm.
And this is where you transition from employee to employer. And what, as my new DBA or LLC branded company, what value do I
Mhm.
bring, and how does that support the growth and development of that business?
That's right. And like, just to add, if you're using value pricing, you need to be confident that you can help the client get that value, right? So it's not just like, oh, of course I'm going to earn more if I value price.
Right,
It's like you need
right.
to be confident you have skills that help
Right.
get that value. Next, make it easy to pay you. So not only make it easy to work with you, we got to make it easy to pay you.
Yeah.
And so it's, I mean, like a check is easy, but checks get lost. I think on the last stream I talked about like a check getting lost, right?
Yeah.
So make it easy to pay you. And this is where, payments for my business, I send Stripe payment links, or I'll send an invoice via Stripe. And it's just a straightforward way for me to do it. It's not only easy for people to pay me, it's easy for me to ask someone to pay me.
Right.
And I think like in the early days, like I would not sure when to invoice, or I would invoice late, and I'm like, oh, it's been a month. I should have sent that invoice a month ago. And it was because my system wasn't set up to do it easily.
Okay.
So it's important to make it easy to pay you. And so, for example, here, Stripe has several products, or many products, to help with payments and e-commerce and finances online. But a couple that I have pulled up right here is payment links. We talked about this on our last stream. We talked a lot about it. How easy in a few minutes you can generate a link that you can send to someone over text, email. You could drop on a button on your website. We showed how to do that. But you can send a payment link. And a lot of times, especially like programs that are, or like engagements that aren't one-off, I'll send a payment link, and then multiple people can use the same payment link. Stripe also has invoicing, where you can go through the dashboard, or if you're a developer or have, using other tools via API, you can send an invoice. Personally, I go into Airtable and I push a button and it generates an invoice from Stripe. So there's two quick and easy ways to do it. A third one we'll begin talking about is subscriptions, and how someone can actually pay you on a reoccurring basis through subscriptions. And then over the course of our content series with Build, Launch, and Earn, we'll talk about some of these other products where you can actually, as a designer or as a developer, you can integrate these products into client websites that helps your clients monetize the work that you're offering them. And you can up level your skill in your offering so that you can offer e-commerce products with your clients. And just a couple more things. I want to get to Q&A, and I promise we would shut up after a second. Reoccurring payments is better than one-off, in my opinion. If you have a good relationship with a client and they have a good relationship with you, and there's a value fit, right, you can propose working on a reoccurring basis with them. And so that's a beautiful day when you send someone a link and it says they subscribe to $4,000 a month or $5,000 or whatever. And then you don't have to go and send an invoice every single time. You don't have to forget to send the invoice. You don't feel like you need to do A, B, and C before you get the invoice. It's just automatic. You can do that right through Stripe. Subscriptions, which is very awesome. One of the last comments I have here, one is profit first. And this is actually a book recommendation. It was one of the books that really changed the way I run my business and helped me run a more profitable business. The idea here is that if you treat your business finances like most people treat business finances, that you have your income, and then from your income you have your expenses, and you have your taxes, and you have your and at the end you're going to have a much smaller number than what you had up front. And then you're like, what portion do I want to pay myself now that I have this amount? What this book and really talks about, I highly recommend checking it out, is you should consider yourself up front. What are you going to pay yourself? And then you're like, well, if I know what I need to earn, what can I afford to paying expenses.
Mhm.
And it flips the thing around, right? You start not just spending on everything
Right.
and then paying yourself table scraps. You begin to figure out what you want to earn. And then you're like, well, if I want to earn that, I can't spend on
Right.
every subscription I see. I can't spend
Right.
it on, it puts hiring in check, all these things.
Mm.
I could talk, there's a whole other stream, right? But this is, I highly suggest this book by Mike McElwitz. And then lastly, when we're talking about build, launch, and earn, we want to build a life, not just in income. So many of us thinking about this today are looking to be like independent freelance designers, right? And if you don't keep this concept in mind, you might end up just working a job.
Right.
You just happen to be the boss and the employee, and there's a lot of stress involved, right? So it's important that we focus on this idea of like building a life, not just an income. And that means, how do you build your business and run your business around the things that encourage you to set off to do this thing to begin with, right? And I'm learning this myself, even 10 years, like how many vacation days do I end up taking, right? Like, how many do I work 6-hour days or I work 12-hour days? And how many of those, you want to think about what do you want to design your lifestyle to look like and begin to build this business around it. It doesn't happen day one. But if you stay focused and keep this kind of front of mind, then you build to this. And then over time, you can begin building a life that supports not just your income, but supports your life.
So we are coming to a little bit of a close, but we're always excited. I said it a little bit earlier in the chat. Definitely tell us what you're interested in seeing next. We've talked about last stream, we talked about using Stripe and integrating payments. Today we talked about the business side, but if you want to learn a little bit more about topic X, Y, or Z, feel free to drop it in the chat. Let us know. This is definitely one of those communities where, again, we want that community aspect. We want to help each other grow, build, launch, and earn as we go through our individual experiences. And we don't want it necessarily to be just an individual. We want to have the opportunity for you guys to come to a community, give us some ideas, get feedback from us. I know someone already put in the chat that the book that you're referring to, they said it was a phenomenal book. When I look, I'll let you know who it was. But to that point, may encourage you to get that book. So definitely let us know your ideas, and we can pretty much take it from there and incorporate it. But you definitely have an opportunity to share what you want to see.
Nice. Do we have any questions? Anything come through?
A couple of questions. So first, Stephen, all the way from the West Coast in Washington, he asked, what was the most intimidating thing you overcame starting your first business and landing your first client? For me, it was I started a startup, and I was at the time a non-technical designer, non-technical founder, excuse me. So I had a significant amount of imposter syndrome, and I went through the UX piece. I did the research. I did research. I did the case studies. I did the Figma, all the Figma things that go with it. However, it wasn't the tech. It was a tech startup. It wasn't technical. So for me, it was like, well, is this company a real thing? Can it be something that's real? Will people actually purchase it? I don't have a technical piece, but I do have a functional or clickable prototype. So for me, it was definitely that imposter syndrome of, hey, you've started a company. And I was like you. When I started, like I said, I think I have like 7 copyrights at this point, because I'm like, I was just starting companies left and right. But to that point, it was that imposter syndrome. And it did have a crippling effect, because it does, well, should I go to this pitch competition? Should I do that? And one day I honestly just got over it and introduced myself to one person who was at a pitch competition and provided a breadth of feedback. And that made the difference. So to your previous point, showing up, being present, and just honestly putting yourself out there. And for me, that startup, that product out there did make all the difference. And now I can say, I built it myself. It's out there and it's running. So
I'll be really quick. I think the first one that first client I worked with, it was really quick. I was like, I got my first client, and now I'm starting a business. I need to figure out how to propose the work I do to them. They were already sold on working with me, but I was like, I need to propose how to do this, and it needs to feel like I know what I'm doing.
Right.
And so I found like proposal templates. I sent my proposal. I value priced my first proposal, which was a great first client. But then I was like, I need to figure out how to get them the results that I promised.
Absolutely.
And it was a 3-month project. And so just over the course of that project, I was just thinking like, how do I deliver value? How do I deliver value? How do I deliver value?
Yeah.
And it's just it's one of those things where my previous job, like always, I was kind of always working on that one, but this one I was like, I'm always working because I'm thinking for 3 months straight, I need to nail this first project because
Right.
I promised I would do a good job.
Right. Another question that popped up from In Good Company: building proposals, writing contracts, and ultimately chasing money feels like a big burden in my business. How can Stripe help shortcut custom packages that aren't one size fits all?
Yeah, so it's a good question. I mean, Stripe has a lot of products that kind of like allow you to take what you've decided and like in create the system and the process around it. And so, I mean, we talked about this a little bit last time. Stripe payment links are just they're so powerful. Like a lot of times, I'm thinking of like some custom thing, and I'm like, or can we just use a Stripe payment link?
Overthinking it, right?
Yeah, and so for things that are a fixed price and a fixed scope, where you're like, I offer this for multiple clients, and I'm doing the same thing for relatively the same fee. You could maybe create a landing page,
right,
or just a PDF, and you could link to a Stripe payment link,
right,
and that payment link has a fixed price, right, and has all the same details, and so it could be as simple as swapping out the name and signee on your PDF, or you're updating your landing page for a specific product. I know there's a lot of people. I've seen a wave. I don't personally do this yet, but that send landing pages instead of proposals.
Oh wow!
Or they kind of go over the website and then they send the website link, and
that's awesome. Yeah.
And it can have a link to like a Stripe payment link.
Yeah.
That's just one idea.
Okay.
But I think, like I said, if you can streamline what you're offering, then Stripe can help you streamline the payment of what you're offering.
Right.
I hope that was helpful.
Cool. Couple more questions from Brianna. When did you move forward with a copyright? I was very young at the time, so it was, I think I had a 1-pager. I had a logo made and I put that in a document, and that was a while back. Copyrights have evolved. So to answer your question,
that could be another stream too.
Right. Honestly, in short, to summarize it to that point, copyright, I thought about what I wanted. I put it there. I put it in a document and I sent it to the copyright office. Copyrights have evolved. At the time when I did that, they really didn't include app or app designs in copyright. Now they do, but that's a separate topic. We can, I can put email in chat and we could talk separately. Then we have another question from Jackie. It's a feedback. It's feedback. I like that.
Oh, good.
Would love to understand. So she would love to understand a more detailed breakdown of the process you take clients through, especially for those first few, when they're trying to decide if they want to. Oh, great! If they want to hire you, great call out.
That's a great one.
Great call out. I'm gonna put that in the notes.
I love it. Well, we're probably running about a little bit of Q&A. Is there one more, maybe?
Just in time, Lynn. Perfect timing. We have Lynn. She asked, what are some of the top ways to integrate AI consulting for content creation as a differentiator? Can you do a webinar session on that moving forward? You want to tackle that, or we can add it?
I think add it to the list. That's great. Okay. Especially because I think AI, especially, I don't have to tell anyone, like it's just coming to the front of public dialogue, conscience. And so other people are thinking about it. Someone might bring it up before you do, right?
Right.
And so I think there's this idea that people, when they bring up in a sales conversation, like maybe a client brings it up, they might be sussing out, like, are you aware of innovative technology and trends, and do you use them? Do you not use them? Some people might. It's gonna be a great stream because
like I just had a client yesterday. I went to an event, on Wednesday, and he has a landscaping business, and he wears all the hats. And I asked him, would AI make his life a little bit easier? So going to an event, acknowledging AI, but we have a separate conversation to talk about. But that's one thing. He knew that he wanted to go in the direction. He didn't know how. So to your point, being that differentiator, or a client that may not know it is asking, hey, can you integrate these things?
Yeah, this is gonna be write that one down. That's gonna be a good one. So really quick, we have a giveaway, and to enter the giveaway, like we said, this is for a Stripe Press book. So this is just a screenshot of the website where there's I don't know how many books, maybe a dozen plus books from published by Stripe on some amazing topics. And we have one here, so I'll show this again if you missed out in the beginning. This one is Scaling People. Beautiful book. These things are like, they're books, y'all. That's big.
They're great books to have in the library. They look good too. So.
So if you want one of these, we're gonna give away 3 books today. So of course, you in order to be entered into the raffle, we really we need some information from you. So the best way that you can provide your information is make sure that you've registered for the stream. That's important. But you should have, if you registered for the stream, you should have just gotten an email. And the email has a question for you. It's very simple. It's a 1-second question. You just have to say, like, what did you think of the stream? From, I don't know, like a really angry emoji to like a really happy emoji. And just fill that out. It's really helpful to know that what you think, because we want to do more of these, and we only want to do cover topics and content, and we want to facilitate these in a way that make you want to come back, so that we can build this community together. Fill that out. We'll be in touch very shortly about our 3 winners, and then we'll reach out. We'll just ask some personal information that we'll need to collect from you to be able to send you this book, and we need to know what book you want. So press.stripe.com. The link should be in the chat. You can select what book you want to receive. So that's it for the giveaway. We'll be in communication around that. And so we're wrapping up really quickly. I want to tell you about the next stream. So we're going to be doing our next stream 4 weeks from today, which I'll look on my phone because I am not a calendar. It is September 26th. So 4 weeks from today, we'll be hosting another Build, Launch, and Earn. And it might be on one of these topics that was suggested.
These are phenomenal topics that we can go multiple directions with. And then we'll take the feedback from the actual chat as well and kind of implement and see how we can make it better for everybody.
Awesome. Guys, well, everyone, thanks for joining us. We're super grateful that you spent some time on your Friday afternoon with us. Before we leave, just next stream, 4 weeks from today, Michael's going to drop in the link, right? So you can sign up right now. So I encourage everyone who joined today, if you had a good time, just register for the link. That'll bookmark it on your calendar. Hopefully you can plan around it so you can be with us. If you're interested in the giveaway, make sure that you fill out the email that you just received. Let us know what you think of the stream. Otherwise, go and build, launch, and earn.
Over the weekend, too. Have a great weekend.
There we go. All right. Thanks everyone. Guys.